Today, we're diving into a guide for independent thinking, and it's from one of the most unconventional minds out there, Derek Sivers. You might know him as an entrepreneur, a programmer, or the guy who built and sold CD Baby. But his real work? It's all about crafting a life of deliberate, thoughtful independence. So, how on earth did he get to this unique way of seeing the world?
This one sentence right here, it's pretty much the key that unlocks his entire philosophy. It's a mantra that came from a whole life of never quite fitting in. And you know what? It gave him the ultimate freedom to question every single rule, every tradition, and every should that society tries to throw our way.
So to really get a handle on his philosophy, we're going to walk through his life, using a framework he came up with himself. He calls them his 4 nutshells. And each one is a distinct chapter that really shaped the person he is today.
Okay, so it all starts here. The foundation for his entire way of thinking wasn't built in some fancy university or a corporate boardroom. Nope, it was laid during a childhood of constant change, which taught him a really powerful lesson about norms.
I mean, just imagine the whiplash. At 5 years old, he gets pulled out of this free-spirited California vibe and dropped into a super formal, posh English school. A year later, he's back in the US, but now he's got an English accent. He was always the new kid, never really belonging anywhere. But this constant feeling of being an outsider, it didn't break him. It actually became his superpower. It taught him that no single set of rules is the absolute truth.
So you've got this outsider mindset, but that needs a direction, right? Well, it found one in a single, all-consuming passion.
For 15 solid years, from the time he was 14 all the way to 29, music was literally everything. He wasn't just dabbling in it, we're talking a complete and total obsession. And this laser focus, it became the engine for his entire education, but probably not in the way you're thinking. And this is where his whole learning process gets so fascinating. His intense desire to succeed as a musician made everything relevant. He wasn't just reading books, he was translating them. A psychology book became a guide to performing on stage. A business book was a manual for his music career. He learned about the whole world through the lens of this one single obsession.
So after all those years focused on himself and his own dream, something happened, almost by accident, that just completely flipped his perspective. This 3rd nutshell is all about creating CD Baby and making that shift from personal ambition to pure service.
Get this, he started a small website just to sell his own CD, but then friends asked for help, and it just exploded. For the next decade, he worked tirelessly. We're talking 16 hours a day a lot of the time, not as some CEO chasing profits, but in complete devotion to helping other musicians.
The motivation was all about service. The money was really just a byproduct. And this decade of pretty selfless work taught him something really profound about the fulfillment you get, not from achieving your own dreams, but from helping other people achieve theirs.
So after selling CD Baby in 2008, you'd think you'd be on top of the world, right? Well, he was completely lost. He had money, he had freedom, but he had zero direction. This final nutshell is all about how he found his new purpose, not by looking forward, but by looking at who he admired most.
His breakthrough was this really simple realization. He'd always called himself an entrepreneur, but when he took a hard look at who he truly admired, they weren't business moguls. They were writers and thinkers. And the lesson there is so powerful. Admiring someone shows you the direction you're already facing.
So he didn't just decide to become a writer, he kind of redefined what writing even was for him. It wasn't about documenting thoughts he already had. For Sivers, writing is the process of thinking. It's how he explores his own mind and actually generates new ideas. It's a tool that creates insights, not just records them.
So you take these 4 life stages, the outsider, the musician, the founder, and the writer, and they all come together to form this really powerful practical philosophy for anyone out there who wants to live a more deliberate life.
First up, he challenges the very idea of how we learn. I mean, we're all taught that learning is about consuming stuff, books, news, videos like this one. But he argues that real, true learning can come from just sitting alone and thinking, from exploring the ideas that are already rattling around inside your own head. And this kind of thinking leads to a set of core principles. First, practice life minimalism. Make your happiness easy to get. Second, be incredibly careful about what you consume. I mean, does the daily news really make you a better person? Third, own your digital life instead of just renting it from big tech. And finally, and this is a big one, actively work to de-other people.
That last point, de-othering, is so crucial. It's the conscious act of dismantling that us versus them mentality that you see everywhere.
Whether it's political tribes or social circles, it's about breaking down those walls we build and trying to find the shared humanity in everyone we might label as those people.
When you boil it all down, his philosophy comes back to this one simple, powerful idea rooted in Stoicism. True freedom and real happiness don't come from getting more stuff, but from needing less. If you train yourself to be happy with very little, you make your own happiness incredibly easy to achieve.
Okay, so now for the final step. It's time to turn these ideas back on ourselves. And Sivers leaves us with a really powerful thought experiment to do just that.
Seriously, think about it for a second. What's a core belief you have? An identity, a political stance, a personal truth that just feels absolutely unshakable to you? What's that one thing you would just never, ever change your mind about?
Now ask yourself this. What would happen if you were wrong? What would change if you let go of that certainty? It's a tough question, for sure. But that question right there, that's the very heart of independent thinking.